What's up, everyone? Mario here. I want to get into this topic of enablers. Now, with enablers, these are people who have impacted your love life right now, and they've been doing it for a very long time. What we're talking about is probably people that are very close to your social circle, people like your friends, your family, oftentimes people very, very close to you and your immediate family or your best friends. Now, here's the thing. I know that a lot of your friends, a lot of your family, they have good intentions and they want to protect you and they want to see you succeed. But when they enable you, that's not always going to be helping you. And what I want to talk about in this video is how enablers can actually negatively impact your love life and how they've been doing it for years, setting you up for lesser success. I think it's something that you have to be aware of so that you can identify it and then be able to control it, because these people are going to continue doing what they do. It's just who they are. There's a lot of people who are, maybe they're just conflict averse. Maybe there's some people who just feel that it's not their job to tell you some harsh truths or expose you to reality or teach you about the real way that the world works. So they're not going to do it. They're going to figure that probably that someone else should be doing it. And the problem is, your best friend thinks that your family should do it, and your family thinks that your best friend should do it, or your mom thinks that your dad should do it, your dad thinks that your mom should do it, your brother thinks that sister should do it, and sister thinks that brother should do it, or parents should do it. What ultimately happens is you don't have enough people who expose you to cold hard truths. And I'll tell you why. Because it puts other people in a very difficult position. When you tell people the truth, a lot of times they don't like hearing it because it can be painful. It can be a reality check. It can be shocking. And most importantly, it's not always rewarded. So oftentimes honesty is rewarded, but sometimes when you're honest to a person, you can impact the relationship. And if you value that relationship, you don't want to screw it up, right? So what do? You hold back. You don't say everything that you mean. And sometimes that occurs when we have friends and family who need to hear the truth, but because we want to protect our relationship or their feelings, we don't actually tell them the truth. We don't actually tell them what they need to hear. We tell them what they want to hear. And, oftentimes what they want to hear is just very much more positive, or we ignore some of the challenges altogether. I don't think it's very helpful. You probably figured out by now that my personality is very much opposite of an enabler. I'm very much the call you on your bullshit. I'm the best friend who will tell you exactly how things are so that you hear the truth rather than suffer from a lie. And to me, that's much more thoughtful if to a true friend or to a true family member that I love. So I'll tell you, it's not always easy, and I understand that, definitely put yourself, when you tell the truth, definitely, it can put you in a position where you are forced to defend yourself, or you're involved in confrontation, conflict, arguments, or just, some drama even. That's difficult for a lot of people, I get that. But we're talking about you and your experiences with enablers. So what I want you to do is learn from a few stories that I want to share with you, because I think that they're going to help you kind of round out some of your thoughts and beliefs about enablers. All right. The very first thing that I want to address is that one of the problems with how these enablers are damaging your love life is because what enablers do is that they help you create a false sense of reality. And nowhere have I seen this any better than in one of my clients, somebody that I worked with. And he was basically considered the golden child of his family. And as the golden child, he could do no wrong. Everything that he did was exaggerated. His successes were celebrated. His failures were ignored. His shortcomings were ignored and treated as if, if he was average at something, they treated him as if he was excellent. If he was shitty at something, they treated him as if he was average at it. And if he was excellent at something, well, then they just went berserk. But the thing was, his reality was very much distorted by the time he became an adult. And by the time he was an adult, all his life, for let's say 18 years, when you're around friends and family and they're raising you, for those first 18 years of his life, he was very much sheltered from criticism, from being told that he sucked at something or that it was his fault. And what happened to him when he became an adult and he was on his own? He basically bottomed out as soon as he was on his own and had to enter the real world where people basically told him the truth. Jobs told him that he wasn't good enough. Jobs told him that he wasn't what they were looking for. He was passed over for promotions. He didn't achieve the professional success that he was looking for. And relationship-wise, he was striking out with women because in his mind, he's like the shit. And, despite all these weaknesses that an outsider can observe, everyone close to him had avoided sharing with him what they really thought, or they just didn't know any better, and they just thought that being positive and accentuating the good, at least for him, was the thing to do. The problem was they weren't consistent. They didn't do it to anyone in the family except for him. He was just like the firstborn boy, so he was treated like a golden child. I think some of you out there, you can relate to this. You've seen this, or you've experienced it, where the firstborn boy, especially in certain cultures, is treated like a fucking king. And the thing was, it didn't set him up for the real world. So once he got out into the real world, his identity was false. He was really thinking that, he was smarter than he was, that he was better at relationships or dating or attraction than he was, that he had more to offer than he actually did. So everything about him was basically false. He's thinking that he's at level 10 in certain areas, and he's barely scratching a 6. The problem is he doesn't know that others see him at that 6 level, and he's trying to get these results as if he's a 10. It's kind of hard when you don't acknowledge where you're actually at. So the problem was with enablers, they give you a false sense of reality, one that the world will not be so kind to, and the rest of the world isn't going to feed that. The rest of the world's going to give you like real info back to you. It's not going to be like through the lens of, well, let me protect my relationship with him so I won't say this, or let me protect his feelings so I'm not going to say this. The real world is just like, yeah, we didn't want you for the job. Yeah, I don't want to date you. Yeah, you're not my type. All these different things, the real world will tell you, who you are pretty damn quick. So he really struggled until he could admit that his identity was actually a delusion, one that everyone kind of participated in for at least 18 years in helping co-create, which was insane. Imagine how difficult that was for him to basically have to say that first 20-something years of my life were a damn lie. I'm not that smart, I'm not that athletic, I'm not that successful with women, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this. And the whole time, he'd been told, like, you are this, you're perfect, you're this, you're this, you're this, you're this. And he wasn't. So when enablers strike, it feels good, but long term, it sets you up for failure because your identity is false, and that doesn't help you in your dating, in your attraction, or in your love life, period. All right. Next up, what enablers also do to, negatively impact your love life is that enablers basically hinder your growth, and because they're not giving you that honesty and that truth that is necessary for you to grow, to move forward, to expand, because you're like, why do I need to expand? Why do I need to get better? There's not an issue here. And here, yet again, there's a guy that I'm thinking of who was never challenged because he had enablers who never challenged him with the cold hard truth. Instead, what they did was they pretended that everything was okay. They pretended that his insecurities didn't exist. They pretended that his dating successes weren't a concern. They pretended that he had all sorts of adult skills, like to take care of himself, to cook, clean, keep bills, all sorts of adult things. They basically, he wasn't functioning, at the level that you would expect of an adult of his age. And it was because the enablers around him basically pretended that he was more successful than he was, that there weren't issues, that he was handling them, or that he was on top of it, despite the fact that by everyone's observation, They could tell that he wasn't having any success with women, and it wasn't just a week, it wasn't just a month. We're talking years and years and years of nobody just saying anything. They were just letting years of this man's life pass by, and they did nothing. And these were his closest friends. These were his closest family members, whom he was very close with. And the closeness was, like, you would think that, when you're so strong in bond with your friends and family that they can tell you anything. But sometimes you run into people whom it's not enough that you're close to, that you have a strong bond. Sometimes you have weaker, I don't even want to call it weaker, but personalities that are conflict averse, that can't handle telling the truth, and that are, a little bit more sensitive to keeping the harmony, and value that over some necessary and needed confrontation. So basically, the way I perceive it is, these enablers in his life put their need for maintaining some harmony and avoiding, a difficult situation. Their need for that was much more important than giving him the information that he needed to become a more successful man. So what happened? What happened? For years, no success with women, and for years, he was allowed to, just be very rudimentary in his mastery of adult skills. Things like driving, balancing his budget, responsibilities, awareness of others. These were very almost childlike, and it was difficult because with enablers, you think everything is just fine. The problem is, you get out in the real world, and you don't get rewarded. All right, the real world will reward and punish you based on the general reality that everyone else sees. Okay, so despite his friends and family never saying anything to him, thinking that, just ignoring the fact and letting him think that he was doing okay, or that there wasn't any concern about him as an adult, or in his dating and attraction efforts, or lack thereof, nobody said anything, and so they're basically not helping him. And so you need to understand that with nobody's challenging you, it's not a good thing. Even in a company, a great CEO needs someone that will challenge him or her, and that they listen to and they respect. And you're not getting that dynamic when you are surrounded by enablers. You're missing out on a piece that you need, that is required for your growth, because you don't grow when you're not challenged. And no one can challenge you if everyone's always in agreement that you're a superstar, that you're awesome, and that you don't need to work on a damn thing. When people are telling you you're good enough, and you're good enough hasn't gotten a date in years. When you're good enough hasn't gotten you sex in years. When you're good enough, is just allowing you to get by in life, and you're missing out on a ton of experiences. You're not getting the relationships, and guess what humans want? Relationships. All right, so I'm sure people think well, I didn't want to hurt his feelings, and I wanted to keep our relationship great. Well, that's great that you have a relationship, but I guarantee you, all you single men and women out there, you would probably say, yeah, I love to have friends, and I love to have a relationship with family, but what I would really love is to be able to have a romantic relationship plus friends and family, but when enablers strike, oftentimes ramifications will be that you won't get the information you need to make the adjustments. They won't challenge you in the way that you need to in the future develop those romantic relationships that you want. So let's not pretend that we don't want the romantic relationships. We do. All right. But without that truth being offered, you can't grow. You do need that brutal honesty. You do need those people in your life. There's a need for them. As a matter of fact, that's what I do with a lot of my clients. When I talk to them, they're not disagreeing with what I'm saying, but it's very much new to them because one, nobody is able to, tell them face to face the reality. Or two, some people can't, see that reality of what's going on, and they're just socially unaware. a lot of people out there who just don't know any better. But you need these people in your life. You need them to call you out on your bullshit, on, celebrate your successes, but also not ignore your weaknesses or your failures, your shortcomings, so that you can get better. Because pretending that things always are fine doesn't help anything. Great businesses, they fail if you don't want to acknowledge that, hey, yeah, our shipping department is just hemorrhaging money, or our sales are going down. We don't know why, but our sales every month are going down. We're going to be in a bad place in the future. You have to hear those realities, because otherwise what happens if a business goes under because we never talked about the bad stuff? Then everybody loses their job, right? And then everybody's fucked. So sometimes we need to take one on the chin, have a tough discussion, and it's good for us. It's good for success, and it's necessary for growth. All right. Now, the third area in which enablers are negatively impacting your love life is that they tell you what you want to hear and not what you need to hear. And that we've kind of alluded to that already, but that's really a key area, because you need people that are going to balance you out. And keyword is balance. If you bring this to the table, you've got this, you understand this, you can make sense of this, you can do it. What you need is someone who brings whatever you're not to the table. And what you need is, so often that's, getting someone else's perspective, someone else's opinion, their input. You can be the world's biggest genius, and you still need other people to learn from. I need people that I learn from. You at home need someone that can tell you something different other than what you know or what you agree with or what you support, because it'll cause you to challenge yourself, challenge your belief, challenge the things that you hold to be true. And some things need to change. Some things do need to change. You can't function from a great place in your dating life if you're surrounded by these enablers for however many years, past, present, or in the future, because you can't have people who they love you, they want the best for you, but it's conditional. I love you, I want the best for you, I want you to succeed, on this condition that I don't ever have to put myself in a position to be the bad guy or to, jeopardize our relationship because I need to tell you something. That's such a wuss move, okay? Such a wuss move. All right. I love you, we love friends and family, but what you need to do is let them also know that you can handle the truth. If you're not great at accepting the truth, nobody wants to tell you that. All right. So you being a baby and throwing your tantrum about being told the truth, guess what? The only lesson that everybody learned from you was don't tell you the fucking truth. So what you need to do is establish a pattern of response to the behavior of someone telling you the truth or challenging you, and you handling it well. All right, you handling it with some maturity and saying, never thought about that. I'll take that in consideration. Never thought about it that way until you brought it up. Hadn't considered that. All these different ways, instead of just going on the defensive or, kicking somebody out of your life. If you do that, all you're doing is encouraging people to see what happens when you tell this person the truth. They blow up, they get upset, you lose the relationship, it hurts their feelings and they hurt your feelings. I don't want to be the next person to tell them the truth. You need to make yourself open so that people trust. And it goes two ways. One, I think that those people are total wusses if they can be your friend and family and be your support and love you and whatever, but they can't tell you the shit that you need to hear. I think that's total wuss move, and it doesn't help you. And deep down, it's a selfish move because they don't want to be uncomfortable. They don't want to possibly lose something. This is life. We all possibly lose something, and at some point, we're gonna piss off our friends, we're gonna piss off our family, but it's your life. You have one life to live, and your dating life and your love life, geez, is really important. You can't just take 5 years off and be like, well, I didn't really miss out on anything during those 5 years. Yeah, you did. Okay, so we don't want any of those droughts. We don't want any of those wasted years. And to do that, you need to surround yourself with people who will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want, or develop them. Some people you need to develop them, like I said. Train them to believe that, they can tell you the truth. Ask for the truth. Ask them to tell you, like, hey, I want to know what you think. Even if you don't think I'll agree with you, I'm not going to get upset. I do want to hear a differing opinion. So if you have one, like, what are your real thoughts? And, like, I can handle it. Let them know that, because I know that it will take you so much further with your love life, with attracting others, with dating, with getting along with others, with social awareness. Because the last thing that you want to do is go through life, and it's a false reality. All right. You don't want to go through life thinking that you're crushing it, and then just finally one day just being like, geez, like, I'm so amazing and I'm crushing it and everyone thinks I'm just such a big deal, except for, anyone other than my friends and family. I can't get a date. I can't, my love life sucks. Professionally, like, I think I'm the shit, but every time I try and get a promotion or interview for a new job, they don't think so. Let's not set ourselves up for that, okay? Enablers are going to be in your life regardless. We're not going to get rid of people who are going to avoid conflict or discussion of tough talks with you. You're going to have plenty of those people, and they're probably very close to you right now. But what you need to do is nurture an environment where you create more people that can challenge you, and nurture that environment so that people do feel comfortable telling you not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. Because if they're truly your real friends and family, you'll get through it. You'll get through it, and you won't just discard them, and they shouldn't have to worry about that. If they're worrying about that, that says a lot more about the relationship between the friendship or the family. That says a lot more about the relationship if they can't tell you the truth and if they're fearful of the repercussions. So consider that, and you wanna round out the people who are around you, get more people who are telling you the truth. It might be a little bit of an adjustment for many of you, but we all need people that call us out on our shit. All right, we don't need 5,000 of them, but you need some, okay? Because there's some people that everyone needs a group of people that they can trust and go to when they need a no bullshit, input. And if you haven't identified those people, you need to identify them or build them up so that they can become that for you. And that's really important to you in your growth, because, like, if you're making a mistake in your love life, no one wants to tell you. If they think that you're unapproachable or you're intolerant of hearing anything outside of what you want to hear. So develop that. I think it's really important, because trust me, you've got a world full of enablers. You got tons of friends and family who are going to continue to enable you. And that's not always going to help. In many cases, it won't help. But what I want you to do is think about how you can increase the number of people who tell you what you need to hear, who can bust down that false reality and give you the dose of the truth that can help you see the world as it is, not just as how you would like it to be or how people tell you it is. So there it is. A few reasons why enablers damage your love life. So let's work on that. See how that plays out in your life. Build yourself up with more people who will challenge you and tell you the truth. Guarantee you, it'll facilitate growth. You'll become a better person, and you'll become more attractive by becoming a better person. Thanks for watching. If you appreciated the content, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you believe that learning about better strategies for life and love is advantageous, I invite you to join Get Game Group. Membership is free, open to men and women, offers weekly game video lessons, and a weekly mailbag for member submissions. Click the link in the description to join.